Welcome back. So, you've already gone over the benefits, our alignment, seeing whether or not we're aligned, our method, and now we're at the social proof page essentially. So, the proof is in the people, right? So, like, I can't just be standing up here and just, telling you all about how great I am unless I actually have something to back it up. So these are real stories and real results, real people that I've worked with personally. And so one thing about coaching, and that a lot of coaches do, especially the good ones, is they make sure that they're speaking that when they speak with people, that the results that their clients are getting, or results that the people are listening to, match and are good and positive, right? So making sure that, you're not just, saying you should do this and then the other person's like, well, what do I do with that? As we go, as any good coach does, you learn and grow as you go. So constant improvement was always one of the things that I was constantly striving for, and I continue to do to this day. Um, it wasn't until I really got the reviews coming in, and even just having some of those live, like real reviews, can be just so not just validating to the fact that my coaching is actually helping people, but it also really helps me understand and know where I need to improve. Now, the irony, of course, is that every single time that I tell somebody, I say, just be honest, like you can say whatever you want. Like you can say the positives, you can say what needs to improve, all of that. And every single time so far, and I've received about, okay, so right now, about less than like 25 different reviews, and they're all just like so happy, like yes, I love it, and I've also gotten quite a few, in person, like the person says probably about 100, where somebody is saying like, thank you so much, I really appreciate that, right? And that means a lot because I'm not just here, saying stuff and just taking my yapper, right? Like, I'm actually trying to help people. I want people to improve. I want to serve greatly. And I hope that you're one of those people too, right? Like, because that, again, helps us know that we're in alignment. And if you're somebody who's like me, who wants to make a positive difference in the world and exponentially increase the amount of goodness and positivity in the world through good leadership, hey, me too. Let's see if we can work together. Um, Another thing is that, so right now, like at this point, you may be thinking, um, well, so, this, like, you might be thinking, oh, I paid. I remember somebody telling me, like, oh, you paid them to give you reviews. No, not at all. I mean, there are coaches out there who have and do pay people to write fake reviews. I'm not one of those people. I would never do that. I believe in working with integrity, and any of these, like, what are the, like, what I'm going to be telling you are real people. They're telling real results. These are their words. I'm just going to be doing my best to say what they've written in a way that is, authentic and real, like maybe, to the way that they mean it to be written. And God, isn't that crazy though? That, like, I mean, there are real coaches out there who, pay people to, write positive reviews, and I do not. I've just always believed in providing good service as best as I can, and none of these are fake. Nobody, no, I didn't pay anybody to write them. I just said, here, could you write a recommendation for me? Could you write a review? Just be honest. Like that was always my priority. That was always my key. I just said, be honest, you know? And every single time I got just really great reviews, and I really appreciate that, because then also, sometimes people just really like to be able to have the opportunity to speak plainly, right? And so I'm just really blessed, and I'm just really thankful for them. And I will admit that not everybody, so like not everybody is going to get along with each other, right? Like, I probably have, just like anybody, I have that 2% of people, like, so that's 98% of, like, everybody that I get along with, that 2% that I didn't ask for a review because, maybe I made a mistake, or maybe they didn't like the truth. A lot of, sometimes the truth can really hurt, and no matter how nicely you put it, it can still hurt. And because of that, people can be angry at you rather than, the truth, right? Because it's just so much easier to be, angry at a physical person than it is a concept. And I'll admit, there's that 2% of people who just, we didn't jive, or they just didn't like how I was. And I just try to, serve the best that I can and coach the best that I am able, and I'm constantly trying to improve. And not everybody's gonna jive with me. Not everybody's gonna like me, and not everybody's gonna like the truth. And so if you're having trouble, if you find yourself somebody who's, having a lot of trouble, like, accepting the truth, and, as much as I can, like, just, what I'll do, what I've learned to do over time is to, kind of prepare, right? Like, prepare the mind, prepare my clients. Hey, it's time to, let's put on our big boy pants, like, I'm gonna be honest with you for a second, right? And, this is just something that we need to face, right? And that has been incredibly helpful, not just to my clients but also to me, because preparing the mind for the truth can be extremely beneficial for both the client and the coach. And so you might also be thinking to yourself, like, well, well, what about me? How do I know that I'm going to get these results? How do I know that I'm going to get these results? You might be thinking right now. Well, one of the things that will help not only guarantee your results, and your success and your achievement, but also, to be able to have that positive coach-client relationship, is not just, whatever advice I might give you, or a strategy, or, like, new processes or ways of thinking, but also taking action on that. And if you're not taking action, or if you don't see yourself as an action taker, there's still, like, a lot of, like, really bad, like, beliefs that are, like, holding you back and whatever. There's also therapy. Now this is where this kind of comes on your end, right? Like, of knowing where you are at. Because also the other thing about coaching is that sometimes even before we start, it's very important to have a little bit of self-reflection, to be able to say, do I have the strength to be able to say, do I have the strength to do coaching and therapy? And sometimes you might need to go through therapy first before you do coaching, or before you do business coaching, business mindset coaching. Therapists can help you a lot with your personal life, and really help you start on that journey of accepting more action, and of taking steps towards action more, so that then once you get into business, now you have a good solid foundation from which to work on. On the other hand, there are some of my clients who are in therapy, and they're able to do business mindset coaching. But that's also because, maybe they already have a successful business, influence or ministry, or they just know that they need a little bit extra on the side to deal with their personal life, so that then they can show up in business in better ways, better, greater ways. And so that's just something to like really consider, because that is something that some of my clients do, is go to therapy for their personal life, and go to business mindset coaching for their professional life. And there's nothing wrong with it. And ultimately there is personal decision, right? And the other thing to note is that if you're sitting there right now and you're like, well, I have dreams and goals that I really want to take action on and initiate, I'm just not sure if you're going to be the right person. That's again where there is a level of self-reflection. Like, looking at me right now, do you like my energy? Do you get the impression from me that I'm authentic, that I'm going to be straightforward with you, that I'm going to use my engineering degree to evaluate and analyze and observe and help you get solutions to some of those business mindset problems? Because right now all this really is sort of a lecture, right? Unless we actually open up the door to a conversation, then we would really know, right? Now there is, you can keep clicking that little button that says, after this, either you could sign up for an event or a clarity session, or you can or you could get to know even more about coaching, right? And you can get even more of my energy. And so, but really, unless you sit down with me and we have a Zoom call, or we, have you know, a, a meeting, or a little group session or whatever, and you get to see me in person and you get to interact with me, that's the only real time that you'll ever really, really know that this might be a good fit for you. And that also applies to other coaches as well. Like, being cognizant of how the other coach is speaking, and in particular look at their eyes, because if they're being authentic with you, say one of the biggest things, and I've found this in my personal life, I've seen this in business as well, is that anytime somebody is telling a lie, they'll look away. Like, it could be either side. Like, look away right when they're telling you a yes or no, like a yes or no to a response. Like, for instance, before we really get into it, like, real quick, just a few years ago, I wanted to have my ears pierced. Like, I wanted a second or third ear piercing. So I have technically three, but anyway, I went to Claire's. I went to Claire's in the United States, and this luckily another woman had come in before me, and I was like, okay, I'm just kind of praying, like, okay, have faith, it'll be okay, we'll figure this out. And this woman, she called me over. The woman had called me over. The client had called me over. She said, "Is this on point?" And this lady, there was a good millimeter or two away from her mark. She was a good millimeter away from her mark, like, at least. Like, she was not on the mark at all. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, you're off. Like, it's off, right? And, oh, we'll do it again. So the first time it was like, had to have been like 2 or 3 millimeters off. Like, wow, like, but just like a huge amount, like, off on their mark. And then she takes this lady. She had like a bunch of piercings in her ear already, but she takes the earring out, and the gal does it again, and she misses her mark again. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I'm like, okay, let's start asking questions here, right? Like, I'm not sure that I want to get my ears pierced here anymore, right? And so I said to her, I said, how long have you been doing this? She's like, oh, every day. And it was like every day, like, and I'm like, are you experienced? And she goes, yes. Right? You see that? Yes. Right? So if they can't even keep their eye on you when they're answering a basic question, they're lying. And that goes for me, that goes for any coach. So if if you come to me and you're like, oh, I'm not really quite sure that I like, my energy or my style, like, don't worry. Like, no problem, no problem. I'm not offended, not at all. But when you do go to another coach, when you do go to another consultant, and it doesn't matter how big or like how fancy it is that they seem, you want to protect yourself as a client, as a customer. And if you ever see them right when they're going to be telling you a truth, run like the wind. Just stay away. Because if they're not, or watch them. The other thing that you can do is also you can watch them, how they interact with other clients. If you're ever in like a group coaching, and if they seem like there's other little, and there's other little keys of lying. Like if they can't seem to sit still. Now, granted, there's always ADHD, so that can be a little bit difficult. But there's other ways to tell whether or not somebody's lying, and it's really important, even just for you as a client, just to like watch the coach, because not all coaches are going to be great. Not all coaches are going to work with integrity, and it's important that you watch yourself as a client and use that discernment, definitely. Okay, so all right, let's get into it. So Ogi Gerba, an entrepreneur. So before we talked, he was caught up in self-doubt despite experience. He was unsure that mindset coaching could help. And after we spoke, he gained clarity and realigned with his entrepreneurial mission. So when he says, being a leader and running your own business is not easy. We are a special sort of people who expect more and more from ourselves, but do not necessarily recognize when we need help. Mindset is key to business success, as it all comes down to believing, even when it's the hardest. And he says, continuing, I have spent a few hours with Sharlot discussing different aspects of business and personal life, and I can say with confidence she's very personable. She takes quick action. She listens, relates well to challenges, and provides insights on how to find a path forward. Ogi, I really appreciate your honest insights, and I really appreciate that. This one's a lot longer, but it's an amazing review, so bear with me. Okay, so Darren Watson, engineering firm owner and amazing client, very good. So before, brilliant ideas, but he kept stalling in action. He was unsure what the real block was. Like, this is a guy and I knew him in college. And so, he's a real go-getter and everything like that. But then years down the line, he had all these goals and dreams that he wasn't taking action on, and he didn't know why. So, but afterwards, and he's still having success. Afterwards, it says, regaining momentum through emotional clarity and aligned action, and he continues to see success to this day. It says, hi, I'm Darren Watson, and I'm a successful structural engineer and business owner in California. Sharlot and I have known each other since college, and I started working with her as her client after she set me up with a strategy session, in which I realized that while I'm normally really good at being on top of things and getting my goals done, there were some things that nonetheless went to the wayside because life had happened and I needed extra help to get me to where I needed to go. Sharlot's coaching has been helping me view my obstacles in a different way so that I can take more concentrated action on what I want to work on. Her coaching has helped me brainstorm solutions to some issues that I've been having in my life, mindset, and business. I'm really thankful for her coaching, as I'm surprised and incredibly appreciative of how much her coaching is helping. I really appreciate how down to earth she is. She's very diplomatic, and she really understands where I'm coming from before offering advice, which I really appreciate. Yes, that's absolutely something that I try to do as much as I possibly can, is like gain the whole picture before offering advice. And that's another thing to keep in mind too about coaches. Like if you just say like one little two sentences and they're immediately offering advice, just like unless they already know like all the things, I unless okay, make sure the advice hits home. Like that's the other part of it too. Like sometimes they could, a few sentences and then immediately they know what to do. And it could be because like they already know your situation, like, but definitely gaining good information before making advice is going to be hugely appreciative to you, not just as the client because you feel listened to, but also as the coach because now they're actually making sure that they're offering advice that is actually applicable to what you're going through. Okay, so anyway, he continues, I've worked with coaches before in football, and I really appreciate that she makes sure that I understand why she recommends something or doesn't recommend me doing something or going through a mindset task that will either help me or hinder my progress. So like, yeah, I always and especially for him, and that's what he needed. He needed to have that why. And absolutely, like if there's a why, absolutely, I'm happy to tell you why. And if I don't know immediately, I will tell you, I will find that out, and then we can talk about it the next session. So, but normally I almost always have a reason why. I'm like I don't give advice just because I think it sounds good. Like I do it because it's been applied to my life or others, and we've seen success. Anyway, he continues, I very much recommend Sharlot Eisentraut's business mindset coaching, as it has helped me so much in my own life and business, and I'm excited to continue working with her. Thank you so much, Darren. I really, really appreciate that a lot, and I look forward to continue to working with you. Okay, so abundant mindset. So these are examples of business owners who experience that growth without guilt. So Danny Ross, tattoo artist, before we talked, he was struggling with inconsistent team and unclear growth strategies, particularly when it came to marketing and like how to get his other tattoo artists to like go and like get more business, right? And so then afterwards he had some systems rebuilt, he clarified some messaging, and he felt re-energized in his business, and he felt like he could really be able to help his employees, help themselves, and help the business. So he says, I greatly appreciate Sharlot Eisentraut. Her many wonderful insights have helped me in my business and in my life. I highly recommend her advice and coaching. Thank you so much, Danny. I really appreciate that a lot. Ruben Carbajo is a realtor. So before I met him, and even for the first few minutes of meeting him, I could tell there were certain things that were coming up. So he seemed very nervous in sales, and he doubted if he could really connect authentically, and he was having a lot of there was a lot of speech patterns that he felt was getting in the way of his sales and in the way of business, because he was there was also feelings behind that that he was having some trouble with. After we talked, he had rebuilt confidence and became a very trusted and grounded communicator. And even now, I still see him I just recently, in order for me to get this picture, I'm like, wow, you must be really successful. So, great job, Ruben. Anyway, so he says, my experience with Sharlot has been breathtaking. Her wise words have opened up my mind to life, providing me with confidence and comfort. I definitely feel at ease after her visit today, and I thank her for her visit. You are so welcome. I'm so glad that you feel a lot better and that you're communicating a lot better, Ruben. And thank you so much for your review. I really appreciate that. So, business brilliance, these are examples of business owners who experience strategy with soul. So, and again, I have a whole lot more reviews and recommendations. These are just the ones that like are, kind of go into that spiritual grit, abundant mindset and leading greatly kind of thing, that they applied to their business because like that was the specific thing that they were going through, and so I just helped them with that. Okay, so Jake Parent, business owner and legal consultant. Well, he doesn't do legal consultancy anymore, but he's still a business owner. And he's amazing. He's awesome. I love this guy. So anyway, so before he was stuck at a crossroads, and this was during the pandemic, so he wasn't sure whether or not he needed to like continue his business and continue helping people. So he questioned whether there was a little bit of questioning about whether mindset work would really help him and really help his situation. But after I talked with him, he regained a lot of that internal clarity. He was able to make a lot better and much more confident business decisions, and he felt a renewed peace about his business and about possibly continuing during the pandemic. In fact, if anything, I talked to him after the fact, after the pandemic, and he said, it's going really well. Like, it actually blew up. So like, it's like, that's good, like, that's great. Because also, like, during the pandemic, I mean, people needed a place to go. And it was like, his business provided it's like meditation work, right? Like so good to have during the pandemic. So he says, I was at a crossroads with my business when I met Charlotte, and she provided insight and coaching that allowed me to make decisions that I was committed to and at peace with. I can't recommend her enough. Thank you so much, Jake. I really appreciate that a lot. So, and then we also have Angel Marie Monticelli. I love her name. Anyway, so she's a business owner and a light worker. So she's like, she's really awesome. She's a psychic, and like she does all of this like energy work and whatever. But also I pray for her at the same time because she's I just I always pray for I always pray for my clients, and I just always hope that they you know have good things, and they have good things that coming in their life. Okay, so before she was like overwhelmed by disorganization, she was unsure if help would help. She was unsure if help would work for her unique path. So afterwards, she developed sustainable systems and regained creative focus. So she really so what I helped her with, some business organization and like how to think about her organization, and like just helped her create some like different systems that she can use moving forward. So, and she says, Charlotte was wonderful and efficient at helping me with my business organization and business management. Her expertise and customer satisfaction was high quality. Her support has helped me increase my productivity by understanding certain programs and being able to utilize the programs in an efficient way. Wow. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you so much, Angel. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you are doing well and continue to have success. So, Nathan Myers, owner and video game studio builder. So before we talked, he had vision, but there was some it was so like lacking structure, because he had a vision in his mind, but he wanted to take action on it, but he doubted that he could bring it to life. So after we talked, he built a clear path to launch with strategy and belief to match. He says, if you're looking to improve your business, then Charlotte is your go-to for helping any business. Thank you, Nathan. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. So thank you. And she's great at dissecting any industry process and helps build and direct your business on the best successful path. I found it helpful working with her to help grow my own business. With her, you get the best. Thanks, Nate. Thank you, Nathan. Really appreciate that. That's awesome. All right, so, and then we get to transformed mindset. So the woman I was, and the person I can help you become. So this is my review. Now, this is also just again, if you haven't heard my story on the first page, like, don't worry, I talk about it all the time, because I mean, it's transformational business mindset coaching. So anyway, so this is my review, the Sharlot Eisentraut Coach and Experience Transformed Mindset. So before I started, before I utilized my education in engineering and the skills that I've learned, such as analysis, engineering analysis, reverse engineering analysis, uh, observation, analysis, experimentation, all of those things. Before that, I was overwhelmed, frustrated, unsure, not enough. I didn't feel like I had enough money, energy, or time, and I just, like, life was overwhelming. Life was very overwhelming for me before I started transformational mindset, and I'm really thankful for uh, everything that I've been through, and I'm thankful for God and everything like that. And because afterwards, now I lead better. I lead myself and others a lot better. I show up brighter. I feel better. I have more peace. I have more happiness. I understand my purpose, and I'm much more aligned with my values. Okay, so, and the review is: the woman who stands before you today is not the same woman that I was 11 years ago, back in 2015. When I say transformational mindset, I mean that in every sense. I've transformed my life, my leadership, and my business from the inside out, because I dared to face the origin of my pain. I dared to face the origin of my leadership, my path, and my purpose. I faced those, and I had to come to terms with them, in which I found my mindset was the very thing that was holding me back from living, leading, and loving fully and completely. Back then, I thought, before 2015, I thought I understood leadership. I thought I understood my life. I thought I understood my purpose. I had the credentials, I had the discipline, I had the drive, but what I didn't have was, like, wholeness. Even though I technically had every physical thing that I could ever want, but I still wasn't happy. And I wasn't leading fully. I wasn't leading authentically. I wasn't leading with love and servitude like I do now. I didn't yet understand that before I could lead others greatly, I had to lead myself authentically. And in that process of confronting my own overwhelm, of seeking peace, of surrendering to God's direction, I discovered that the greatest leader I could ever follow was God. God had a mission for me long before I had a plan for myself. I mean, like, even looking back right now, if I hadn't done the sacrifices that I did to get my engineering degree, I would not have been able to deeply heal a lot of the past that I was able to, because I not only faced it, I also targeted and solved the origin, which again is a big part of my method. That mission wasn't just about success, not at all. It was also about surrender, and it became about surrender and belief, especially belief, because belief affects everything you do and say. It affects your life, it affects your business. It was about learning to let go of control and to replace striving with peace, and to build from faith instead of fear. Through that journey, I found the real abundant mindset, the one that, though complicated, sees possibility in every challenge and grace in every lesson. If I were to recommend this woman, the woman that I've become, I'd say, you're not just going to be led greatly. You're going to be led with heart, soul, purpose, and integrity. Because this woman doesn't give up. She doesn't give up on herself, and she doesn't want to give up on you, because you need to cross the line to reach her. Like, and even right now, as you're listening, like, there's only so much I can do. I can present you with an offer, like, I can present you with an invitation, but you have to take it. You have to take this opportunity. You need, and I hope that you do, because I care about you, even if I don't really know you. She knows me. I know you're capable of more, of leading, creating, and living in alignment with yourself and with who God created you to be, and with your identity, and with your skills, and with the things that you want to do, with the dreams you have, the goals and dreams that you have that maybe you're not taking action on. Because guess what? Those dreams, they matter. That's why I'm here. Because the same faith, grit, and growth that transformed my life and business for the better are the very same tools that I use to help others rise higher, lead better, have more clarity, with with clarity, peace, and power. All you have to do is step forward and accept the invitation of coaching so that you can lead yourself, your community, and your business greatly. So below this, there's going to be some buttons right now as I'm recording this. You can either start coaching with myself, Sharlot Eisentraut, by clicking the blue button, and that will take you to an events page. Right now, as I speak, the clarity session is up. I might have others up there as well. Or if you want to know more about TBMC coaching, you can, if you're still wondering, you can click on that violet button. And I really, I hope that you've taken this into consideration, and to know that when you show up for coaching, I'm not just another person who's just like trying to make a quick buck. I'm somebody who shows up with integrity and honesty, and as much as I can, service, because that's what great leaders need to be even greater. Great leaders need to lead greatly by being led by other great leaders. And so, with that said, go ahead and pick a blue or violet button, and I will see you on the next page. And with the violet button, the clarity session, you can just get right on my calendar, no problem, and it's really quick. So, all right, have a great. I'll see you later. Bye.